Hey guys, Hackexploit here, back again with another video, and I apologize for the lack of uploads. I was just completing the web penetration testing series and I had some work that I needed to get done, so I'll be uploading those promptly. But now I really wanted to show you guys probably one of the most important tools that you should be familiar with and you should be able to use, and that is Hydra. Alright, so for those of you who have never heard of Hydra, Hydra is essentially a very good password brute forcing or a password cracker for that matter. So it allows you to crack online logins, etc. Now in this case, what we're going to be focusing on is how to attack SSH, or how to actually brute force using a dictionary attack. We are going to brute force the SSH port. Alright, now you might be asking yourself, well, why is this such a viable thing? Well, the truth is, if you're looking at this from a black hat perspective, let's say you have access, you have access to a network, an organization's network, and now you want to gain access to a computer. Well, SSH might be a very good attack vector that could obviously give you, a large amount of access, or could give you access to a senior, or a systems administrator or something like that, for example a router, etc. And obviously from then you're now escalating your privileges even further. So again, you can target really important things in an organization. For example, you can target the router, you can target the systems administrator, you can target probably one of the most important post computers, for example the CTO's computer, etc. Yeah. Alright, now in this case, again, I'm going to be stepping out of using Metasploitable now. In this case, I'm just going to be using a standard Ubuntu. I'm just going to be using an Ubuntu operating system here that is again connected to my local network, and this will offer us a fantastic understanding of how to use Hydra to perform an attack. Now, when I said we're going to be using Hydra, we're obviously going to get started with using X-Hydra. Now, if you've not heard about X-Hydra, don't worry. It's essentially the graphical user interface for Hydra. And you might be asking yourself, well, why exactly are we using X-Hydra and not Hydra? Well, I'll show you exactly why. Alright, so the first thing we need to do, following the standard steps, is we need to identify the targets. We need to identify what ports are open in the target. So for that, we'll just perform a basic nmap scan. We'll just scan for the simple ports. The IP address for my target is 192.168.1.108. Now, if you don't know your target's IP address, you can just perform an nmap scan as well on the entire subnet, and you'll get the IP address that way, or you can use NetDiscover depending on what you like. All right, so I'm just going to hit enter, and as you can see, the only port open is the SSH port, and by default, I created a new user with its own password, the admin user with its own password. Now, by default, of course, you'll not be knowing the username and the password, so we are going to be using word lists to perform a dictionary attack. If you perform a brute force attack, it becomes too long because, some word lists have about, like for example, if you use the ROCU word list, it could have in the minimum of 12 million different combinations, and that's going to take like a week. Now you can see why this is getting really tedious, is because if it's going to take a week and you're on the network, meaning you're actually inside the organization, probably you've not connected through it externally, but you're on the network, you need to get something really fast. Now again, we're going to be targeting default usernames and passwords, but again, it can be different depending on the security protocols set up by the company or the organization. So you can use the default word list that's come with Kali Linux, which are extremely powerful. That can be found in command share, change directory, user share, and I believe they're in word lists. There we are. So if you list the word list in here, you can see you have the ROCU, you have the Fern Wi-Fi, which is again set up by the Fern Wi-Fi cracker, the .txt, and these are some that you can just experiment with, and they are fantastic as well. Alright, but in our case, what I've done is I've just created my own word lists here. They're sorted out in usernames and passwords, because if you know the username, then you're halfway there. All you need to do is brute force the password. But in this case, I'm just gonna I've created a usernames and passwords. Again, it's a simple one with possible ones, and the passwords. As you can see, the actual password for the SSH is Alexis1234. I've just kept it as basic as that, so that I can save time and I don't have to, go through the cracking process, which can take up to a week, and then, or, a few hours, depending on the complexity and where it lies on the word list, or in the word list. Okay, so again, I'm just going to be explaining how everything works here and how it's done. Excellent. Let's get started now. So we know that the port 22, which is the SSH port, is currently open. You remember, it's very important that it is open. If it's not open, then many people have tried to tell me that they are trying to attack a target, but when you look closely, you can see that that specific port is closed. So that means it won't really work. So again, make sure that the port is open. So once you're ready, what you want to do is we just want to type in Hydra like so. And once you type in Hydra, it's going to open up the graphical user interface. And let me expand that. Alright, so now we want to select our target. Alright, so it's sorted out in target, passwords, tuning, specific, and start. We'll get to all of that. So our target is essentially if you're targeting a single target, you can enter the IP address here, whether it's a global or a public or local IP address, or you can select your target from a target list. Alright, so we're just going to select a single target, and we're going to select the IP address 0.1.108, and again, if you're using IPv6, you can also specify that. As for the port, we know that the default port for SSH is port 22. It could be incorrectly configured, so you can also watch out for that. You then have your protocol. In this case, we want to scroll all the way down to the SSH. So again, you can look at how to use Hydra for other types of cracking. But for now, let's focus on the SSH, because one of the most popular ways of being cracked. Now for the output options, this is very, very simple. You have your be verbose, so it's going to give us additional information and show the attempts. Very, very important. Now, why am I using Hydra and not Hydra? The reason is if you want to learn how to use Hydra or any other tool, I would recommend, especially Hydra in this case, you can see that it gives you the syntax that is being used right under here, and from then on you can then try it on your own with the command line. Alright, so again, it's gonna just list down to you here how you would go about typing this, or how you would go about using Hydra in the command line. Alright, so those are the options we're selecting there. Now let's go to password. So again, you can select a default username if you know the username, or you can select the username list, which is what I'm going to do, which is stored on my desktop, and usernames.txt, and we open that. Now again, I've said this word list already contains the username, so it's not going to be a long cracking process. I'm just explaining the theory here behind what's going on. Again, I don't want to go through the entire cracking process because that would be pointless and you're wasting computation power. Alright, so as for your password, again, you can select the password if you know it. Well, if you know the password, then it really doesn't make sense unless you want to know the username, which is again a very viable option. So let's select your password list or your password, and you want to I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to select password.txt, and you can also generate your own passwords. That's an advanced feature. We'll not be looking at that right now. As for the other options, you can try login as password. This essentially means you can try the default. So if it was incorrectly configured and the systems administrator or the network administrator was he wasn't really keen on security, you can try an empty password, which works most times. Believe me, I've tried this and it's actually just shocking, especially for smaller companies that don't really have the budget to hire serious security guys and stuff like that. But irregardless of that, what we want to move on now to is the tuning. Now, tuning. Why is this so important? Well, we talk about number of tasks. What this means is these are going to be the number of login attempts being made. Now, as I said, if the security protocols in place are very, very high, and you're trying to attack a company that has their security at a top at a top-notch level, you want to reduce this to about 5, because again, what will happen is if you, most companies usually have the protocols of if you enter 5 passwords incorrectly, it logs you out and it locks SSH for about 5 minutes. So again, I would recommend that you keep it at about 5, and for your timeout, we can just change that to something really nominal, which is 10 seconds to timeout. So again, you want to make sure you select exit after first found pair global. So again, you don't want to make sure that you keep on looping around. All right. Moving back to the passwords. Sorry, what am I saying? Not the passwords. Going back here, exit after the first found pair. So this will essentially mean that it once it gets the password and the username and the password pair, it stops the brute force method. Now again, you can also use your HTTP and HTTPS proxies here, which is again something advanced, but right now we're not using any proxies. But again, it might be useful if you're using a proxy. Going on to the specific settings, we don't have to change anything here. This usually come in handy when you're targeting, telnet or FTP, etc., etc. And now once you're ready, just hit start, and you want to go into this bottom button here, and you just want to hit start. All right, and it's going to start, and immediately, as you can see, it got the login as admin and the password as Alexis1234. Now again, this took a really short time. Probably because the word list is so small. Now, if you talk about a huge word list like the Rocky word list, that contains 14 million different combinations. So you can imagine how long that will take. So again, a good sense of information gathering really works here. If you can get the usernames of the computer or of your target, that will be excellent as well. And you can also try the default usernames, because as I said, most of the smaller companies do not actually care about security, if I can say that. Alright, so we've got the username and the password. Now let's try and log in via SSH. So I'm just going to open up a terminal here, and I'm going to say SSH. I'm going to select the username, which is admin at 192.168.1.108. And once I hit enter, it's going to ask me for the password, which in this case is Alexis1234. Sorry, oops. And once I hit enter, it should log me in. Oh, whoops. Something's happening here. There we are. All right, so we were successfully logged in, and that is how to target SSH and how to use Hydra for password cracking. As you can see, it's really an efficient tool when it comes down to what it does best, which is password cracking. More specifically, really extremely difficult protocols, things like FTP, which can be extremely useful if you see the use case. But directly from here, you can see that we have got access, and you can imagine the damage you can do if you get access to a target's computer, or you get access to the systems administrator computer. You can you can really damage stuff on the network. But again, I'm not encouraging that. This was just a video of me showing you how to use Hydra, to understand the cracking process. And finally, using Hydra is always something that comes really in handy, especially when you'll be performing penetration tests, if you're looking at being a penetration tester. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. Don't worry, in the next video, we'll be moving on back to web application penetration testing. I've made all of the videos now, so I'll just be uploading them daily. And yeah, thank you so much for the support, guys. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers as of uploading this video. I really appreciate the support, and I have awesome things planned for you, and I'm also planning a giveaway, so stay tuned for that. I love you all. Thank you for the support. It's been unbelievable, and I couldn't ask for more. Thank you. This is all thanks to you. So that's going to be it for this video. Again, if you like the video, found value in it, please leave a like down below. If you have any suggestions, questions, or comments, leave them in the comment section on my social networks or on the website. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace!